All right, let's start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayodhirayet. Mr. Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nashtaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, chapter 31, verse number 15. Okay, whoever wants to read could raise your hand. Surekha Mataji, go ahead, please.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Yathaiva suryat prabhavanti varaha punascha tasmin pravishanti kale bhutani bhumau sthira jangamani tatha haraveva guna pravaha. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Madhumai Krishna Kanta Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yathaiva suryat prabhavanti varaha punascha tasmin pravishanti kale bhutani bhumau sthira jangamani tatahara veva guna pravaha. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Chitra Mohini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yataiva suryat prabhavanti varaha punastasmin pravishanti kale bhutani bhume sthirajangamani tataro veva guna pravaha. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Surya Prakash Rao Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yathaiva suryat prabhavanti varaha punascha kasmin pravisanti kale bhutani bhumau stirajangamani tatha haraveva gunapravaha. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Hare Krishna. Anjali Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yathaiva suryat prabhavanti varaha punascha tasmin pravishanti kale bhutani bhaumau sthirajangamani tatha harava eva guna prabhavaha.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Leena Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Yathaiva suryat prabhavanti varaha punascha tasmin pravishanti kale bhutani bhumau stirajangamani tatahara eva guna pravaha.
Thank you. Vijay Kumari Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yadaiva suryat prabhavanti vara punasadashmin pravisanti kale bodhani bhumau sarajangamani tadahara eva gunaprabha. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Ayushi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna everyone. Pranam. Yathaiva suryat prabhavanti varaha punascha tasmin pravisanti kale bhutani bhumau sthirajangamani tata haraveva guna pravaha. Thank you very much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Sujata Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yataiva suryat prabhavanti varaha punascha tasmin pravishyanti kale bhutani bhumau stirajangamani tata haraveva guna pravaha. Thank you, Mataji.
Leena Mataji. Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Pranam.
Tathaiva suryat prabhavanti punascha pravishanti kale bhutani bhumau sthirajangamani tatha haraveva guna pravaha.
Thank you, Mataji. Prafulla Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yathaiva surya pravisyanti varaha punascha tasmin pravisyanti kale bhutani bhumau sthirajangamani tatha haraveva guna pravaha. Hare
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Okay. Yatha, as, eva, suddenly, suryat, from the sun, prabhavanti is generated, varaha, water, punaha, again, cha, and, tasmin, onto it, pravishanti, enters, kale, in due course of time. Bhutani, all living entities, bhumau, to the earth, sthira, not moving, jangamani, and moving, tatha, similarly. Harau, onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Eva, suddenly. Guna Pravaha, emanations from material nature. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. During the rainy season, water is generated from the sun. And in due course of time, during the summer season, the very same water is again absorbed by the sun. Similarly, all living entities, moving and inert, are generated from the earth. And again, after some time, they all return to the earth as dust. Similarly, everything emanates from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and in due course of time, everything enters into Him again. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. I'm sorry, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Because of their poor fund of knowledge, impersonalist philosophers cannot understand how everything comes out from the Supreme Person and then merges into Him again. As Brahma Samhita, 5th chapter, 48th verse confirms, Yasya prabhapa bhavato jagadanda koti shvashesha vasudhati vibhuti bhinnam tad brahma nishkalam ananta ashesha bhutam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Transcendental rays emanate from the body of Krishna, and within those rays, which are the Brahman effulgence, everything is existing. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, verse 4. Matsthani sarva bhutani. Although Krishna is not personally present everywhere, his energy is the cause of all creation. The entire cosmic manifestation is nothing but a display of Krishna's energy. The two examples given in this verse are very vivid. During the rainy season, the rain, by rejuvenating the production of vegetables on earth, enables man and animals to obtain energy. When there is no rain, food is scarce, and man and animals simply die. All vegetables, as well as moving, living entities, are originally products of the earth. They come from the earth and again they merge into the earth. Similarly, the total material energy is generated from the body of Krishna. And at that time, and at such a time, the entire cosmic manifestation is visible. When Krishna winds up his energy, everything vanishes. This is explained in a different way in Brahma Samhita, 5th chapter, verse 48. Yasye kanivashita kalam athavalambhya जीवन्ति लोम विलजा जगदण्डनाथा विष्णुर् महान् सह्ययस्य कला विशेषो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. This entire material creation comes from the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and at the time of annihilation again enters into Him. This process of creation and dissolution is made possible by the breathing of the Mahavishnu, who is only a plenary portion of Krishna. Okay. होमज्ञान तिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा गदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु, हे कृष्ण दीनबन्धु जगत्पते, गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमस्ते. तप्तकाञ्चन गौरंगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी विश्वानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंदा. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने. नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. Let's read the verse one more time. यथेव सूर्यात् प्रभवन्ति वारा पुनश्च तस्मिन् प्रविशन्ति काले भूतानि भूमौ स्थिरजङ्गमानि तथा हरेवेव गुणा प्रवाहा. During the rainy season, water is generated from the sun, and in due course of time, during the summer season, the very same water is again absorbed by the sun. Similarly, all living entities, moving and inert, are generated from the earth. And again, after some time, they all return to the earth as dust. Similarly, everything emanates from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and in due course of time, everything enters into Him again. Okay, we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, which is entitled as Creation of the Fourth Order, and we are reading from chapter 31, which is the last chapter in this particular canto. What is the name of the chapter again?
Narada
Narada
instructs the
Narada instructs
Prachetas.
Kachatas.
Narad Muni is instructing the Prachetas. Very nice. Thank you. So, Narad Muni has instructed so far that bhakti, without bhakti, what is useless? Without bhakti, what is useless? What is useless without bhakti? Three things which are useless.
Jnana and karma.
Karma,
Gnana.
Karma,
Karma,
jnana, and
and yoga.
and yoga, Ashtanga yoga.
yes, karma, jnana, and ashtanga yoga. Very nice. And also, without God realization, what is useless? Without God realization, what is useless? He has taught us. Without realization of Krishna, analytical study of the matter and all other yogic practices are useless. And also, renounced order of life and Vedic study is useless. Other auspicious acts which we do, the rituals in life, they are useless because if they don't help us to realize Krishna, the word used is useless. All right. Then we studied that Krishna is the source of all self-realization. Yeah, we studied it that the source of all self-realization is Krishna. And then in that verse, we studied the importance of the syllable Om Tat Sat, like beginning, performance, and culmination of the activity. So even if somebody is doing karma, gyan, or ashtanga yoga, Krishna has to be present. Generally, Krishna is present towards the end of these activities, but in bhakti, Krishna is present in beginning, during performance, and the end of the activity. Right? And then yesterday, you must have studied with Prem Prakash as Prabhu that worship of Krishna is complete. You don't need to worship Krishna separately and demigods separately, because Krishna is in whole, complete. The worship of Krishna, as much as when we put food in the stomach. What are two examples given in that verse? How Krishna's worship is complete? What are the two examples? 1 and
Like
2.
the tree,
Worshipping the
tree and
watering the
Giving the
tree.
water to
Watering
that
the tree. What in the
watering
tree?
the tree and
Watering the
eating food.
Watering this
the
Root
root
of
of
the
the
tree.
tree.
not the
roots,
root of the tree.
leaves and
roots, watering the roots.
Yatha
Ah,
taror moolaniti.
watering
Then
the root of the
Udaram.
tree, waters the twigs, the leaves, the branches, the fruit, the
That's
flowers. And what is the next example given?
Udaram.
Feeding
Food
to the
stomach.
stomach or
to the stomach.
Rejuvenated.
You feed it to the
Feeding
stomach
food to the
instead of
stomach.
feeding it to other parts of the
Then
body.
if we supply food to the stomach and the whole body is nurtured. We don't have to feed the eyes separate, ears separate, or everything else separate. Very nice. Thank you. Now over
This
here,
is with
Narad Muni is
reference to the demigods, you know. Instead of praying demigods, you should pray the Godhead,
Supreme. Yeah.
the Supreme Personality of the God.
we don't have to go to the demigods for asking the
Yeah.
fulfillment of our desires.
In that
Separately
context,
in
these
Krishna.
examples are given, Mother. Yes.
Thank you. All right. So here we are saying that Krishna is worthy of all worship. Okay. How Narad Muni is again giving two examples here. That this is explained, in is the cycle of evaporation, which is taught in the schools. I was listening to one time Prabhupada's lecture on 3rd canto, chapter 26. I don't remember the verse. But Prabhupada was explaining the cycle of evaporation. Says, okay, what do we study in the school? The cycle of evaporation. The water is evaporated by the heat of the sun and is carried by what?
Water vapor.
In the form of the cloud, right? And then the clouds condense and they become dense. Then the water falls down, right? This is what we study in the school. So Prabhupada was explaining in Srimad Bhagavatam that actually the water is evaporated by the heat of the sun and it is stored in the sun. And then in due course of the time, when the seasons change by the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Prakriti, the external energy, then the sun releases the water. So there was no mention of the cloud. The Prabhupada was explaining very intricately, and I was like, wow, this is completely different than what we study. So this is what is mentioned here, right? During rainy season, water is generated from the sun. And during the summer season, the very same water is again absorbed by the sun. So there is no mention of the cloud. Basically, sun here is compared to what? What is sun compared to?
Krishna.
Very nice.
Krishna.
Very
Personality of Godhead.
Yes, very nice. So sun is compared to Krishna. That okay, in due course of time, as water is generated from the sun, and in very same water is again absorbed by the sun. So similarly, all living entities moving in inert are generated from the earth. Now, what is earth representing here? What is earth representing here?
Krishna.
Krishna.
In Krishna.
Krishna. So moving is all the moving living entities, and inert is referring to all the standing living entities like the vegetables. Okay, so they are generated from the earth, and then they are annihilated as dust in due course of time. Similarly, from Supreme Personality of Godhead, everything now, okay, not just the living entities, not just the water, but everything is emanated from Krishna, as Krishna is saying, Matsthani Sarva Bhutani. And in due course of time, everything enters into him. And the process explained is by the breathing process of Mahavishnu. All the planets come into existence, and when he breathes in, when he breathes out, they come out. And when he breathes in, everything is going back in his body. Okay, so just by one breathing cycle of Mahavishnu, this is happening. What is the importance of studying this analytically? What is the importance of studying this analytically? What is the importance?
Death and birth come from Krishna.
Okay, so we understand that both death and birth are coming from Krishna.
To know
Very
that
nice.
Krishna is the cause of all causes.
Krishna is the cause of
from
all
beginning
causes.
to end.
All, yeah, okay, very nice. All the causes which are remote cause. We can discuss and divide all causes into different subcategories according to the Shastras. Thank you, Mataji. One definition of all causes is immediate cause and remote cause. One definition of all causes is that in the time factor, past, present, and future causes. Like that, we can divide the causes, but everywhere the common denominator is that it is Krishna. From Krishna, everything is emanating. So what does it actually do? And in due course of time, everything enters into him again. Is that it actually, to me, if I study it, to me, it feels like that I need to feel very bonded. There's a bond between Supreme Personality of Godhead and me. Because I'm never like separated. That okay, I've come the soul part. I've come from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and in due course of time, that's where I'm going. So it gives a lot of reassurance, takes away the fear factor. If a realized soul is reading it, I'm not realized, so I'm still scared of the death. But these are the verses which actually make us more and more sure of our eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? We are very sure. But why are we scared of death? Because we don't know where are we gonna go. It's not comfortable. Remember in last chapter we studied that what makes people worried or scared of the darkness. Because in the nighttime, what was the analogy given in that particular verse? Because in the nighttime, who comes out?
The rocks.
Robbers and thieves. But when the sun comes out, then robbers and thieves disappear. Right? So because there is a worry, or because there's a concern, or because the realization is lacking, or because the feeling of the bond between me and Krishna is weak, there's a worry that Krishna might actually not be able to protect me when I die. Okay, he's saying it very nice, he's saying it, I'm reading it, but actually it might not happen. So that is the difference between a pure devotee and not a pure devotee. A pure devotee is sure under all circumstances of life that Krishna is never going to be out of sight. But a not so pure devotee is a devotee. It's a devotee because they've come somehow in touch with Krishna, is still lacking the confidence that maybe, just maybe, that this is not true. Maybe. Got it? So this is so intricate, and that's why Narad Muni is saying it. He's not going to tell us the lie. That's why the prayer of the pure devotees is a pure devotee. Now, we should not like imitate them. The prayer of the pure devotee is that Prabhupada taught us, right? Prabhupada taught us that Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is all right if you want to send me to hell or heaven. But my only request is that please don't make me forget. Don't give me your forgetfulness. Please remind me to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra always. That's how they pray. Or we see that. We see that Queen Kunti is genuinely praying for all the calamities to happen. Are we ready to pray like this? That Krishna, send me more and more COVID? Yeah. Are we up for it? Krishna, send me more and more problems.
No,
I'm not.
No,
No, Mataji.
So we are not there. So that is why it is important to understand one's adhikar in bhakti, one's personal elevation in bhakti. And I think I told you this, that one time Prabhupada's disciple was praising a devotee a lot. Remember, of course, Prabhupada appreciated his disciples, but he was saying that this devotee is a very great devotee, this like very elevated. And Prabhupada was sitting and said, great devotee, pure devotee, and Narad Muni is a pure devotee. So when the standard is Narad Muni is a pure devotee, then we must take to the position of humility, right? Krishna explains the definition of humility in Bhagavad Gita. What is the definition of humility in Bhagavad Gita again? What is definition of humility in Bhagavad Gita? What is it defined as? It's chapter 13, no? The corrected that it's defined aman vittam. Humility. What does it mean to be humble? You can't hear or nobody is speaking. What is humility according to Bhagavad Gita?
One aspect of the humanity, Mataji, is dasanu dasanu dasa.
Okay, that's the action part of it. Okay, thank you. One definition, thank you. A definition of humility. Krishna defines. Nobody.
Hare Krishna Mataji, to see the Lord in everyone, one's heart.
That's the definition of a Brahma Bhuta, right? Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, Brahmane Kavi Hastini, right? That's the definition of a wise and virtuous person. Sujata Mataji, yes.
Vimanatva means
One should not be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others.
Honored
Mataji,
by
Okay.
others.
Vimanatva means
Thank you.
Vinay, he doesn't want to be honored by others. That is
Thank
so,
you.
he will be very obedient.
Thank you.
I think that may be correct.
Thank you. Ayushi Mataji, yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji, always being half of the grass. Like
Always
in
been what
every
in the
aspect.
grass? Can you repeat that?
Half of the grass. Half of the grass. The grass
Half
on
of the
which we
grass?
walk. Like we have to always just smaller than the
Humbler
grass.
than the grass means.
Yes.
Okay,
In
thank
every
you.
aspect.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna Mataji.
So, yes, so Aman Vittam, humility means, according to Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, it means not to be anxious to be honored by others. This is a very deep-rooted quality, not to be anxious to be honored by others. Like the appreciation and the validation drives us. Does it mean that we don't want to be appreciated by others? We don't want to, our existence. Validation is a sign that somebody is alive. We all seek the validation. Don't we ask like after a performance at work, or if the function at home, if you have a function at home like a wedding or something, don't we ask people around us that how was the arrangement? Did you like the arrangement? Or how did I speak? Do we ask or no?
we do.
Yes, yes,
Yes, Mataji.
We ask. But Krishna is saying not to be having, not to have the man vittam, not to have the, what did I say? Not to be anxious to be honored by others. So it's not that we don't like ask, or it's not that we don't seek that, but we don't drink it. We don't get owned by it. Okay, we learn our lessons, and then go on moving. Prabhupada said one way to be humble, if you look at Prabhupada's life, one way to be humble is keep moving, keep moving. Prabhupada kept moving from one project to another project, from one country to another country. He did what nobody else did. One time, we were celebrating Prabhupada's 50th anniversary, ISKCON's 50th anniversary. I think it was 2015 or 2016 in Boston. And that was like a whole week celebration. And then there were like all these professors of philosophy in MIT, Harvard, where they were invited to talk about Prabhupada. And when one of the professors mentioned that they went back in history, they went back up to like the time of Jesus Christ. Okay, first Jesus Christ came in Christianity, but they studied that he was not alone. He had his brothers with him. Then they studied the spread of Muslim, the Islam. So the Mohammedans who were spreading the message of Allah or Islam, they were saying in that seminar, they were also not alone. They were also like, there was like a company. Yes, everyone is like spreading the message of God, and we're just studying analytically. And then they studied the life of Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada was alone. So basically, they said they went as back as 5000 BC, and they couldn't find any personality as potent as Srila Prabhupada. This was in MIT Harvard in I think it was 2015. That we were listening, and I was like, I had like goosebumps listening to this, that Prabhupada is appreciated by all these people across the globe, and they're spending so much time and effort and finding ways to appreciate what Prabhupada gave us. They're alone. We look for company, right? That doesn't mean that we look for honor, to be honored by someone. To be honored by someone means that we take Krishna out of the center. That's what it literally means. We take Krishna out of the center and we bring our quality in the center. Honor me because I have this quality. Honor me because this can happen in devotional service too. So we can actually forget that everything is emanating from Krishna. And in due course, everything will go to Krishna. This happens in devotional service too, especially somebody who is, because we come to devotional service with a baggage from material world. No, we're still carrying the baggage, and no anartha nivritti hasn't happened yet. So, what happens is that, let's say that somebody is very good in, let's say, cooking or kitchen management. Okay, for example, or that somebody is very good in washing pots and dishes, or somebody is very good in managing the finances of the temple. So they start recognizing themselves with the service. Sorry, they become very, very thick with the service, that this is, this is my service. So what happens if somebody else is doing that service? Then this devotee becomes insecure. I have seen it time again. It becomes insecure that how can you do this? How can you bypass me and not go through me in this service? This is my service, which is different than giving responsibility. If the temple president has given responsibility to a particular devotee, then that's different. And that responsibility has to be carried out with a lot of compassion in the heart. Okay, not like a dictatorship. It has to be done with a lot of compassion, because again, we are remembering at every move in our life that Krishna is at the center. This has been done ultimately for the glorification of Srila Prabhupada, for the glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, but if we forget that, then it only becomes a chore. You see how devotional service can also become a chore. That is why without devotional service aptitude, Krishna is not really attracted to our external manifestation of a devotional service. He's not going to see whether I was wearing a silk sari or a khadi sari or a cotton sari or a white sari or a red sari or what sari. Is not going to look at. He's not going to look at whether the tilak was straight or curvy. Not going to look at it, the tulsi beads in the neck were thick or thin. No, Krishna gets attracted to the love one has for him in the heart. And we cannot cheat Krishna. It's not possible to cheat Krishna. Okay, so in that way, one Prabhupada is explaining that Krishna is worthy of all worship. So how do we actually appreciate or bring that in our life is to never forget that Krishna is at the center. He's at the center of our life. How do we bring Krishna at the center of our life? By constant meditation on the subject, by incessant and sincere chanting, and also association, and also by reading the Shastras. If we are not reading Prabhupada's books, then over time, devotional service or devotional activities feel very burdensome. Like Prabhupada said this in Vrindavan, there's my favorite lecture of Prabhupada. This is in the series of Queen Kunti's prayers. If you read the book, Prayers by Queen Kunti, and in one of the lectures, Prabhupada, it looks like he's speaking, and then looks like somebody is getting up and leaving the class, and Prabhupada is saying, where are you going? You need to sit down and hear. What will you do? What will you do if you don't hear? Only sense gratification. And then Prabhupada explains that Vigraha, Vigraha means what? What does Vigraha mean? What does Vigraha mean?
Ideal?
Deity, not ideal. Deity worship.
Deity,
Yes.
yeah.
So it's a Vigraha. If you don't hear, Prabhupada said, if you don't hear, if you don't read, then this Vigraha, Archa Vigraha, will become Galagraha. Galagraha means a pain in the neck. And it says our Guru Maharaj has given us such a big establishment and such big deity worship, and we are nowhere. And it's a burden to manage the finances. It's a burden to do this, to do that. Okay, so why does it feel like a burden? Why one feels that one is not progressing in bhakti is because we are not reading Srila Prabhupada's book. Because if we are not reading Srila Prabhupada's book at least 1 hour a day, then we forget how to put Krishna in the center. Because our memory is very bleak right now. Because we are in Kali Yuga and I'm recognizing myself as a body. So the memory of me as being soul and part and parcel of Krishna and everything emanating from Krishna is very, very weak and bleak. It's very flickering. So it's necessary. Reading Prabhupada's books reinforces the Hare Krishna chanting also. Okay, reading the Shastras and understanding and discussing the Shastras are give a flavor to our chanting. And it becomes very wholesome and flavorsome. I am telling this to myself as well, that it's not just for me to speak for others and then I can just do and live in my la la land. No. All right, so if you read this verse now, that during rainy season, water is generated from the sun, and in due course of time, summer season, the very same water is absorbed by the sun. Who is at the center of this verse? Water generated from the sun and then going back in the sun. Which is a common denominator? Who is at the center?
Sun.
Krishna. Okay. Now let's read this. Similarly, all living entities moving and inert are generated from the earth, and again after some time they all return to earth as dust. So who is at the center here?
Earth.
Earth. Okay, so common denominator is earth. Living entities coming out and then coming back in. You can complete the circle, but earth is the center. Similarly, everything emanates from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and in due course of time, everything enters into him again. Who is at the center?
Krishna.
Krishna.
So next time, if the mind attacks, because it's going to happen every minute, and says that you're so nice, you have helped so many people in your life, you have done so much, you have given your time and effort, whatever, mind brings these people who are charitable, people who are pious, they also think like this. I'm not saying that don't appreciate your presence on planet Earth at the time being. But I'm saying, okay, but you can say this is a quality given to me by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is all because Krishna has given this quality. If Krishna will take this quality away, then I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing. That's all. I'm not saying dismiss your feelings. I'm not saying invalidate yourself. I'm not saying go into the cycle of self-flagellation or self-criticism. I'm not even saying talk to yourself very harshly, so punish yourself. No. Acknowledge, sit with it, but also say that this is happening. You have these qualities because Krishna has given them to you. So basically, Krishna is the one who should be rightfully respected. On behalf of Krishna, if we can act, then that quality is magnified, right? And if I cannot, and if I just focus on the quality, over the course of time, that quality becomes less and less sharp, becomes less and less. You know, if a person is very charitably disposed, over the course of time, people tend to forget that person. Why? Well, how many of us are remembering very charitably disposed personality across the world who have opened this ashram? With due respect, they have. And this is one of the pathways or one of the stepping stones towards Krishna, as Krishna says in 12th chapter Bhagavad Gita, to give charity. But it doesn't satisfy the person so much that it actually goes in the memory of the other person. Why? Why? What makes us forget that? Do you agree? Like if I have given, let's say you have opened up very big hospital or school, and after some time it becomes like, okay, this person did it, okay, but I'm still, I'm still paying the fees here, I'm still going and I'll do it. But how many of us are really appreciative of the person's efforts? Over the course of time, it only becomes a name. But if somebody has given us Krishna consciousness, we always remember that person. Always. What is the difference, huh? What is the difference between the two kinds of charity? Tell me. What's the difference?
One is material, Mataji. One is material and one is spiritual.
What is making it
One
material
is
and what is making it spiritual?
temporary. That one is temporary. And spiritual thing will lead us to Krishna. We'll get permanent happiness there.
All right, Mataji. Thank you. Yes, anyone else?
Material in the sense, Mataji, yes. He is doing services, I am paid. That is one idea. Second is that, yes, maybe you are paid, but the Shraddha he has shown in that service, that issue you should always appreciate. Then it will sort of encouragement to him. That is it. That's what I feel it.
Thank you.
As you are developed in a Krishna conscious, you will have that qualities. You should always be, you should take everyone into your confidence. Hare Krishna.
If you are involved in a creation of something which is destructible, you are also going to be evaporated from memories. But if you are instrumental in telling something about indestructible and eternal, your memory of you will remain in the memory for the eternal time.
Very nice, yeah. But there's a little bit of an intellectualization there, and I'm talking more at the emotional level. But yes, that's correct. At the intellectual, analytical level, you're 100% correct. But there's more to it. Thank you. Yes.
Mataji,
Yes.
in fact, building a hospital is a activity, fruitful activity, fruitive activities in the mode of goodness, whereas worship or devotional service is transcendental. It is above mode.
Oh, so you mean the Bhaktivedanta hospital that is being built? Very big hospital is underway in eye clinic in Parsana by under the leadership of Radhanath Maharaj. Then there's Bhaktivedanta hospital in Vrindavan. Then there's one in Mayapur under construction. And there's one in Mumbai. So they are fruitive activities.
They are selfless, but ultimately with some kind of results of benefit orientation.
Okay, we'll come to it. Thank you, Krishna.
Service oriented.
So let's give someone a chance to Prakash Prabhu. Yes, anyone else? Okay, so you see,
Mataji, one is
yes.
sorry.
Leena,
Mataji, one is for seeking name and fame, and the
Mm.
second one is for inner peace and blissfulness.
no, there are a lot of anonymous donors. No, they don't bring their name up and they give big charity. Okay, that's also fine. We'll accept it. There's nothing to be rejected in every devotee who has spoken here. But you know what the problem is? The problem is that we speak words, but we don't give life to those words. That's why there's a gap. There's a gap in understanding and application. There's a very fine line in understanding the Shastras and applying the Shastras in our life and living the Shastras on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I had asked this question to Namanishta Prabhu years ago. It's like, and he gave me the answer, which actually made 100% sense. Is when we give someone Krishna consciousness genuinely, okay, we come to their life, not because I want to take something from that person, but because I genuinely want to give memory of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and both of us can benefit it. But the other person, if has received also in the right state of the heart, that kind of a charity, this is also charity, right? That kind of a charity is way more superior than the charity, like for example, I gave opening a school, which is also important. Education is power. I get it, but out of the two, this one touches the person more. Just he said, why? You know why? Because we touch the person's heart. Because Krishna is in the heart. We touch the person's heart, and because there is so much sense of gratification, gratitude, not gratification, gratitude. The person can never forget the person whom they got benefited the most. This is the feeling of gratitude, the feeling of touching somebody's heart from the right place, from selfless interest, is far more superior. By giving them a memory of Krishna, is far more superior than just fixing immediate problem in material world for someone. I'm not demeaning the philanthropists across the world who do this kind of charitable works. It's needed. I see people, parents in America, so they come, sometimes they come with the children that they have adopted from different countries, you know, they're adopted from China or South America or even India. And they are white people that they have adopted these, they've gone all the way to these countries. And it's not that they are childless people. They have their own 2-3 kids and then they go fly and adopt these children. Amazing, you know, amazing. And then they give the child their name and raise the child on their own. It's really very encouraging. Time, money, effort. So but that's good, but if you add the flavor of Krishna consciousness, then that becomes the bond from the heart. That is why there is a saying, right? That family who prays together stays together. So each one of us will actually stay together forever if we are harboring that feeling of gratitude towards each other. That thank you for being there. Thank you for giving this to me, and I'm thankful to you for being here for me. In Krishna consciousness. So we actually never separate, right? This example is given in Dhruva Maharaj pastime. Dhruva Maharaj pastime, Suniti. Suniti is Dhruva Maharaj's mother. What is the meaning of the word Suniti? Niti means mati, right? Intelligence. Suniti means good advice. Okay, so Dhruva Maharaj's mother told Dhruva Maharaj that you are looking for something which I don't have, but who has it? Krishna has it. So go to Krishna. So he took that advice, and then when he's going back to Dhruvalok, he asked. Remember, we studied it. He asked the Vishnu Dutas, "Where is my mother?" And then he turns right and he sees his mother boarding the plane and going with him. So that way, they're reassured that okay, if we have actually touched each other's heart in Krishna consciousness in service to Krishna, if that's the reason what brings us together every single day, day after day, and we are actually looking forward for this every day for so many so many months, years, or every kind like day of our life which is remaining, then it is from a lot of gratitude, right? A lot of gratitude for each other, and that what pleases the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then we go back to Him together, and then we actually don't fear any fear, don't feel any fear or fear any fear. That's also right to say. Okay, so understand that how in our present existence we have examples where we can see that, for example, we can see sun, we can see rainy season, we can see summer season. We can see the common denominator is sun, and how sun is actually generating the water in rainy season, and the same sun is actually absorbing or evaporating the water in the summer season. We can see the earth, we can actually see. So Narad Muni is actually telling us and giving us a vision to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead with the things and objects around us right now. Similarly, as you can see all these things, similarly, you can also understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead from whom everything is coming and in whom everything will go. So you're not gonna get lost ever. Okay, any questions, reflections, realizations, corrections? Stop the recording, otherwise it becomes very big file.